Good afternoon. Welcome to Napanee Public Library's Book Bites with Maggie. Today's special guest is Marluce. She is an adult circulation staff member. So oftentimes you'll see her behind the desk when you come in and visit us here at the library, and she may have some recommendations for you. So she's going to share some of those with us today. Again, our topic is inspirational fiction. For me, the easiest way to differentiate that type of fiction versus another just regular fiction would be, obviously, they're going to be clean storylines. So think about like your Hallmark stories. There's going to be like romance, there could be mystery, but they're going to be your clean, easy, like G-rated stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started. If you are new to Book Bites, the way this works is if you see a title that piques your interest, obviously we are live. You're welcome to comment in the section below and let us know what you like. We can put it on hold for you if you have a Napanee Public Library card. And we are here 7 days a week, so you can swing by and pick that up at your convenience. We will also try to mention if books are going to be in a different format. So obviously our collection is not all physical. We also have a really great digital collection. So if you like ebooks, e-audiobooks, we'll try to mention if those titles are available in those formats as well. And we also have CDs. So like if you want to listen to a book, we have those on the shelf. So we will try to mention those. Again, all you have to do is leave a comment. Tell us if you like a book that we've held up or if you've read something else by that author. We'd love to have that engagement. Just let us know if you want something and we'll put it on hold. Other than that, we're welcome to just kind of chat and have great conversation about some of the books that we're talking about today.
Yep.
So let's see. What do you want to do? Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll start with a nonfiction.
Sure.
It is written by Serena Dijksen. She lives actually here in the area. It is a good book. It is a true story of hope, love, and forgiveness after abortion. It is a pretty easy read. You go pretty fast through it, but it's a very heavy topic. So she got abused by an uncle on age 13, and she got pregnant, and then her parents wanted her to do an abortion, so she got an abortion. And then the aftermath of that, how she dealt with it. First, she didn't deal with it right. She, after years, she started drinking and doing drugs until she was at the lowest moment, and she reached out to God, and that's when she turned around. Right now, she is helping other people that has the same problems, or she helps them with the problems. And she's a speaker too. She speaks.
What does this green dot mean there?
It's a new book.
It's new. So that means if you checked it out from our shelf, you would only get it for 2 weeks versus 3 weeks.
Actually, the green dot comes off.
Oh, that's true.
So it's
not new
it's
anymore.
not new anymore.
So we've had this book in our collection for 4 months.
Yeah,
so
and we only have it in a regular book form. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. I like that.
Yeah. It's a real good book.
My first book that I want to talk about is Peculiar Treasures. This is the Katie Weldon series. So I am an avid fan of Robin Jones Gunn. That's this author. She's written over 50 books. Her characters honestly feel like friends to me. Like I'll like picture them in my head, and I'll see them when I'm at the store, and I'm like, oh my word, if this person was real, that's who they would look like. And so she's got lots of multiple series, but her characters are all woven together, kind of like Karen Kingsbury and her Baxter series. Lots of sub-series, and they all create this world. So this is one of those series. Katie Weldon is Christy Miller's best friend through high school, and then this series picks up in college. So she's dating, she's apprehensive about the way their relationship is going. So this is a great immersion into the collection. So if you've enjoyed teen books and you want something a little bit more, this would be a great series to do that transition with. This one particularly we have as a physical book, and we also have it as an ebook on Libby and Overdrive. So if you are unfamiliar with our digital content, you are welcome to reach out to us. We'll be happy to get you connected to Overdrive and Libby so that you have access to those things with your library card. Okay, you want to do another one?
Sure. So you talked about Karen Kingsbury. Here we go. Love the Baxter family story. There are actually, I think, 32 books of them in one series. The first book series was 23, and then she took a break. And the last 8 she did, you can actually read as standalone books. But I would say the first ones, I would read them in order. They're, like she said, intertwined, the people that are in there. It was when I first started reading them, I was like, wow, 23 books, where am I going to read those? But I actually read them in the car when I was waiting for my kids at sports events or school or whatever. Very good books. I love them. Even not the Baxter books, the other Karen Kingsbury, they're all very good. We have these in a regular book form, ebook, audiobook, e-audio, DVD. We have actually 2 DVDs that are books that are in movies. Yeah. So her new book is coming out in April 27th, A Distant Shore. That's not a book of the Baxter family, but a standalone book. It's about human trafficking. It sounds really good. I'm really excited about it. And then October 26th is the next Baxter book that comes out, and it's called Forgiving Paris. I'm actually looking forward to that book because it's about the favorite person that I like in the series. It's about Ashley, so.
Okay, so Karen Kingsbury, she's extremely popular in our collection.
Yeah.
So we automatically get those new titles added to our collection.
Mm-hmm.
If she's an author you like to read, we have something called, I can think of a standing wait list. Favorite authors list.
Oh,
So if you
yeah.
want to be automatically put on hold every time a new book comes into our collection from her, reach out to us, let us know. We'd be happy to do that. We just need to get your contact information. And then you don't have to sit there and be waiting to find out when the next book comes. We just call you and say, hey, she wrote a new book, and we put you on hold for it, and it's available.
Yeah.
We also get multiple copies of each of her books to keep that keep the hold list going. So that's definitely something we can do for you if you like this author.
Yep.
She also has a new series. I have not read them yet, but it's the Baxter Kids.
The kids,
And we have
yes.
that downstairs in the kids collection.
Yes.
So the second one just came out last month,
Okay,
I think.
yeah.
It might have been February.
She writes it with her son, I think.
Okay, that would make sense. I know there's
Yeah.
a swing on the cover, or tire swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they look really good. So
Yeah.
world building.
Yep.
The Amish books in this collection are enormous. They fly off the shelves. They are often well read. They're the ones that fall apart the quickest, and we replace them, and we just can't keep them on the shelves. This one in particular is one that really got to me. This is Falling to Pieces. It's a Shipshewana Amish mystery.
Oh.
So if you are unfamiliar with our location here, we're about, 45 minutes from Shipshewana, and so it's a place that you could frequent if you lived in our community. And so when you're reading these books, you're like, I've been there, or I can picture this. And oftentimes authors have to build those worlds when they're creating stories, but when it's set in a location that you're familiar with, it gives it that extra pop. Now, what I'm gonna say is I hope there is not a murderer in Shipshewana, which is what happens in this story. And so it is the first book in a trilogy. So there's 2 people coming together. They're getting over their differences, and they are trying to find this murderer in Shipshewana. So it's pretty cute. There's 3 books in the collection. Even though it's a mystery, it is not super bloody gory. So it's that clean read that we were mentioning. So with that inspirational fiction, you're not gonna get that CSI, Law and Order SVU, like scary stuff, but it's an intriguing story. So this is Falling to Pieces, a Shipshewana Amish mystery by Vanetta Chapman. We have it as the physical book that I'm holding up here. We also have it as an ebook and an e-audio. So if this is one that you would like to read, let us know in the comments and we can pull it for you and have it on our hold shelf.
I have to put that one on my list.
Yeah.
It's good. Sounds good. Okay, so then I read this years ago. It is it's a let me see what it's called. I put it down. The series. No, yeah, it's about widows. The story about I think it's the Widows of Butternut Creek. I think that's what it's called. There's like 4 or 5 widows that come together all the time, and they're kind of bored, so they try to do something excited. So they got a new pastor in town, and he's a young he's a young guy. He doesn't have a girlfriend or a wife yet.
So they are matchmakers?
Yes!
Oh! I have one of those too!
It is so funny. It is. They have some other characters in the books that are a little bit more serious, but it is, if you want to laugh, there's 3 books in the series, and it's really good. So we only have this in large print, so
that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so all large print means is obviously it's a physical book, but if you, I don't know if you can see this. So the font is just larger, and the spacing is better, and it's clearer. So I mean, anybody can read this. You don't have to have trouble seeing in order to see it. No. But the margins are minimalized so that the font can be bigger, and then oftentimes the page count is a lot bigger. But it's the exact same story, just in a larger font.
Yep. So if you want to have a laugh, pick that one.
Okay, really so since you were talking about matchmaking, I'm going to do that too. Okay, this is Mismatch. It's the first book in the Erin Hallbrook series by Erin Mangum. This was actually recommended to me by Lana way back when, like pre-children. And this is a laugh out loud series. I wanted Lauren to be my friend. I actually own all of these books now. I'm friends with the author on social media. Hi, Erin. I hope you see this. I hope to come visit you someday. Like, that would be amazing. Your characters came to life for me, and I really enjoyed Mismatch in particular because she makes the same jokes that I do, or she is the type of funny that I wish that I could be.
Oh.
Okay, so like I laughed out loud. I read this on the way to Colorado, and I literally would like go back 3 or 4 pages and then read the whole thing to my husband. He didn't think it was quite as funny. But if you are looking for a story with great 90s references, she is kind of flying high in our story. This is, again, Lauren, when she matchmakes somebody in her family, and it starts off with a wedding. She's like, yes, I'm a really great matchmaker. Let's matchmake the pastor. So see, that's so funny. So this is the story of how she's trying to matchmake the pastor, but then there's also a side romance for herself in this one. This has 3 or 4 books. I'm trying to think. But then Erin has other series, and some of those characters are just like background characters in them. So you would only pick up on that if you had read previous titles. This one in particular, we have it as a print book, and we also have it as an ebook. This has been recovered. So if you're familiar with this series, the previous cover was like bright pink, and it had more of like a Starbucks paper sleeved coffee cup on it with her eyes peeking over the top. So the first 3 books, so it has 5. Okay, the first 3 books came out, and they all had a similar kind of wonky cover to them. And then when books 4 and 5 came out, they were only as digital books. And then when they released those to print format, then they recovered all 5 to match with this black and white cover. So you might have already read it and just don't recognize the cover with this new black and white theme on it. But they're excellent books. Lana loved it and read it. Did I already say that?
Yeah.
And I loved it and read it. I own them all. I hope you pick this series up. And if you enjoy matchmaking your pastors, then we're just going to keep you filled up with books.
That's right. All right. So I like mystery books, but I like them clean. So if you like Dee Henderson, Irene Hannon, Elizabeth Warren, They're all great books, but Denny Petrie, she's pretty new. I think this was her first series that she wrote. It is the Alaskan Courage books, and I really did like it. It was the way she writes it. You know, Alaska is one of those countries that I really like to, that I like to go and visit someday. But it's about a family of 5 brothers and sisters, and they explore murder mysteries, and it's in, like I said, into the Alaska wilderness with help from loved ones and old and new friends and God. And then each sibling has then a personal story of triumph, tragedy, and at the end, love.
Do you have to read those ones in order? Do you remember?
I would, yes.
Read them
Yes, because it goes,
Okay.
they kind of intermerge with, and she has 2 more series written, actually one full one, and now she's written another series.
Wow.
So we have those books in regular print and in ebook form.
Nice.
So really, really good. I really liked it.
So romantic suspense.
Yes.
This one is romantic and longing. So Before I Called You Mine, this is by Nicole Deese. This book is about a woman who she desperately wants to become a mother, and she's kind of given up on finding a romantic partner, and like, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to be able to be a mother. And so she decides to put herself in the pool to become an adoptive parent. And in doing so, she also understands that it would not be a good time to start a romantic relationship as a new parent. And so she knows there's a fork in the road. So if I'm going to go after and pursue being a parent, then I need to set aside my desire to also have a husband, and not be split in 2. And of course, after she finds out that she's going to get a placement, that she's going to become a mother, then Mr. McDreamy shows up in the school where she teaches as a substitute. And then this is the story that follows. So this is, it's the type of book that you would then see on Hallmark. You would, like, as you're reading it, you can visualize it really, really well. This was an excellent story. And just recently I found out that Nicole is going to have another book coming out. So that one's going to be on my automatic read list too. So this one in particular, Before I Called You Mine, we have in print book and e-audiobook on Libby and Overdrive. So again, any of the books that we're mentioning, if you are interested in them, let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to pull those aside for you. Or you can write down your notes and bring them in and see us, and we'll be happy to get those off the shelf if we have them available. I'm going to do one more here. Secrets, Lies, and Alibis. This one's going to be kind of similar to your Submerged. Patricia H. Rushford and Harrison James worked together to create this series. I think there's 4 in this one. And in this story, it follows a police detective who is solving crimes. So you're going to have that suspense. But then his partner that he works with is a very faithful man. And so then their relationship and his introduction to religion is shared through that relationship that they have together. And then they solve crimes together. So each book, it has a single crime in it that they're trying to solve, but then the detectives themselves, they go throughout the series. So you could read them interchangeably. The cool thing is one of the authors, Harrison James, actually does work in a law enforcement agency and has done detective work. So you get those extra details, and so it makes the story, in my opinion. Again, this is the first one in the series. We only have it as a print book, but it is available, and it actually looks like it was just recently replaced. So that means it was well read, well loved, and still earned its spot on our shelves. So if you like those investigative, suspenseful books, this might be one for you. Another author that we have, is Denise on automatic order? Okay. Denise Hunter is from Fort Wayne. She is an inspirational fiction author. of oodles and oodles of books. I feel like she writes 2 a year, one in the spring, one in the fall.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, lots of series. This is one of them that I really liked, Blue Ridge Sunrise. This is about a lady who goes back home and inherits her orchard, her peach orchard. And then there's a romantic storyline involved. This is the first book in a series, but Denise has written oodles and oodles of series. And all of them are excellent, quick reads with wonderful dialogue. And you can read through them really in like a day and a half, have a whole series read in a week, and feel really good about yourself for all the reading that you're doing.
Only Maggie, it took
you
me
could
about
do
2
it.
weeks.
No, you could do it. So this would be like if you're fans of Colleen Coble, if you like, who are some of the other ones? Well, Karen Kingsbury. Just
Warren,
really good stories that feel like they could hop off of your bookshelf and into your television set. And actually, some of her books have made it to the screen. They've become movies. So this might be a new to you author, but she does have semi-local ties, living in Fort Wayne, and she's visited us here at the library before, so she's not going to be a new name to some of you. But maybe there's a series on our shelves that you have not read from her yet, and I would highly recommend them. Want to do another
they're
book?
really good. So this is the last book I have. This one is a book from Suzanne Woods Fisher. She usually writes Amish books. This is one of the series that she did not. This is, I don't know, when I read the first book, we only have the second book on the shelves right now. That's why I choose this one. It is a series of 3 books. The third one is coming out in May, I believe, and I'm very excited. This was really one of those that I wish that I waited until all 3 books were here so I could read them in a row. She only read the first one. When she read the first one, I had to wait a year, and then the second one, and then wait another year. So it wasn't really long. It was one of those books that just, I really, how do you call that? They jump out,
Oh, yeah.
I really liked it. There's no really. The story is about a dad and 3 daughters. Their mom and wife passed away unexpectedly, so the dad decided to go buy an island with a camp, and where they used to go all the time.
I want to buy an island, a tropical island.
I know, right? So, but then when they came, so they went there a lot. They had good memories there. So he thought, well, I don't think he ever went and looked at it. So when they bought it and they actually went to the island, it was like totally like, it was destroyed. They have to do so much stuff to it. But it is,
So is the third book out now?
it's coming out in May, I think.
Okay, so I will add it to my summer list so
Yes.
that I don't have to wait for
I
them.
know, it's just really good. It's about the 3.
So is
the
each book
sisters-
about a different sister?
Sister,
Okay.
yeah. And they were kind of strange, so that's why the dad wanted his 3 daughters to come with him, so they get to bond. Yeah, and they all have their own story. The oldest one was very successful, has a son, I believe. She's actually going to help dad with it starting up. Then the middle one was a counselor or something like that. And then in the second book, she starts her own counseling at the island. And the third one is about the youngest one, and she's a little rebellious. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how that one ends.
Aw.
And it ends with some love story too.
Very
So
good.
really good, yeah.
We have a comment that says the next one comes out next week, and it is a standalone. I don't know how long that was there before I saw it. Are we talking about Denise Hunter?
Oh,
Potentially, I think. Is that the bookstore in the sea? Are you still there? Potentially. I think that's the name of her next book, but I thought it was the part of a series. So if it's a standalone, It might be the bookstore in the sea, or the bookkeeper book. I don't remember. Okay, if you're still there, please comment again so we know which book you were talking about. I have Jessica Cates' book here. This is A Girl's Guide to the Outback. This is also a book in the inspirational fiction series. And in this one, there's, they've like been childhood friends. They, what is that trope called? Friends to lovers. And they've changed a lot, and so they're not sure where they stand with each other. There's a Christian camp involved, and then lots and lots of continental going back and forth. So that's where you get the outback with the Australian characters involved. This book we have in multiple formats. This is a print book. We have it in large print as well, ebook and e-audio. The one thing that stood out to me with this one in particular was the banter. So you can't always convey that going back and forth in the dialogue, and you can totally pick up on that in this, and that was one thing that I really enjoyed. Jessica Kate has written some other books as well that we have in our collection, so if you end up enjoying this one, you might enjoy some of her others as well.
I listened to that on an audiobook.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's really good.
with this one, is there a dual narrator? Do you remember? Like, did you have somebody reading it to you with an Australian accent?
Yes.
Okay, because I absolutely love when they do that, because
Yes.
you obviously, you know the way that they sound,
Yeah.
but when you're reading it yourself, you don't get that.
Right,
But when you listen
right.
to it as an audiobook,
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it, I love it, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, this next book is from a series, the Love Finds You series by Summerside Press. I came across this series a long time ago, 10,
It's-
12 years
yeah.
ago, and picked up my first one, and it was called Snowball. And this series, they're all kinds of standalones written by all different types of authors, but they each focus on a town with a unique name, and then the storyline kind of ties in. So this one is Valentine, Nebraska. Obviously, it's going to be focused on Valentine's Day. They are all romances, but you do not have to read them in order in any way. But Summerside Press was bought out by another publishing house, and then they disbanded the series. So there are not any new ones coming out. I feel like there was maybe 30 to 40. We have quite a few of them in our collection, and some of them have been made into movies. So you would even find these, maybe three or four of them
Yeah.
were turned into movies. They don't exactly follow the storyline of the book, but they have the same name. So
Yeah.
we'll let you decide which one you liked better.
It's usually like that, right?
Yeah, it
Books
is.
are
It
usually
usually is.
better.
I'm like, that's not the color of the hair the character had. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, Love Finds You in Valentine. This one we have as a physical book and as a movie. So again, you can find those in our two collections. The Dating Charade. This is one that I picked up because I was really on the illustrated graphic covers for a while, and this one I'm like, oh, it's a romance, I've got to read this one. This book totally gripped me. So yes, it's a romance, but it is so much more than that, because the main characters become parents unexpectedly. So one ends up being a foster parent, the other one has kids that are like dropped off in their lap, and they're dating, and neither one of them decides that they're gonna tell this person that they're dating that they are in charge of children. So what could happen? What do you think? Anyway, so not only is there a new romance involved, but then all of a sudden there are 5 children
Oh, wow.
in between the two of them, and all the dynamics that come along with going from a single person to being in charge of other people to being in a relationship. And this story, it has some trigger things that they make you think, and it's not just an easy romance. So this one is going to have a little bit more content to it. It is totally masked by this cover, so it needed a more serious cover, in my opinion, in order to convey the seriousness of some of the things that happen in this book. Melissa Ferguson does have some other books as well in our collection. I don't think all of them are physical books. Some of them are only available as digital. This one, we have the physical book, we have the ebook, and the e-audio. So this could be one to put on your list. Thank you, Martha. Bookshop by the Sea by Denise Hunter is her new one that comes out next week, and that's the standalone. Thank you for answering that one. Francine Rivers is another author that so many people read. Her books, Redeeming Love, I couldn't even tell you how many times we've had to replace that book because it falls apart. This is another one by her that doesn't get checked out quite as often. This is a 1950s Hollywood Scarlet that is trying to rise to fame. She has a very broken childhood, so she's actually found underneath a bridge in the town of Haven, and she is raised and then wants to be a star. So this is the story of her rise and fall with very religious context to it and her religious journey. This one we have as a physical book. We also have it as a large print. So as we mentioned before, that just means that the margins are smaller, the font is bigger, it's easier to read. We have it in that collection as well, and then it is an ebook and an e-audiobook on Libby and Overdrive. So multiple formats that you can grab this collection.
She's one of the authors I have not read. I read one book of her, but she's one of the authors that's on my list to read.
So this one here is actually one that I picked up because of this author. Remember how I said that I watch her on social media?
Yeah.
And she said, hey, let's do a book club. Everybody read this book and let's talk about it. So I picked up this one because of this author.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for watching Book Bites with Maggie and Marloes today. Next week's episode, we're going to be focusing on books about royalty, both dystopian, real life royalty, and made up royalty. So that will be lots of fun. Martha, our Heritage Collection manager, is going to be joining us for that segment. As always, if there are any of the books that you saw that piqued your interest, come in and see us. We're here 7 days a week. And we'd be happy to get those books into your hands, or if you want the digital content, again, we'd be happy to assist you in making that happen as well. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Thanks.